Okay, good morning, everyone. So good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome you to this President's Town Hall and to really be together again as a community. It's interesting as I look back to the last 10 and a half months. I came in with little ambition, actually. I had only one goal, which I'll tell you about if you hold on. And it's really been great to be part of a great community. And I'll tell you what the goal was in a little bit. So today we'll talk about community updates. President Grace Wong will talk about what she's heard from the listening tour and provide some interesting contextual information. And then Lauren Turner will give you an overview on, along with Art Heinricher, on the strategic priorities. So for all of us, of course, and for me, the reason we're mostly here is because we care about the students very deeply. And so it's always kind of important for us to say, what's our North Star and how do we navigate through different times? So first and foremost, this idea of keeping healthy, keeping safe, and thinking about our well-being has been a main theme for this year's effort, right? And I've always admitted that I'm not necessarily the best example of this, but I hope that at least the way that we strive towards this in this year has been different. The message to the students has been different. The message, I hope, to the staff and to the faculty has been that you must be well first before you can give your best to our community. The other thing, of course, is this whole notion that we serve our students, no matter how high we are in the system. We're here for one primary purpose, which is to serve our students, especially in these last few years of unprecedented circumstances. And we, of course, want to make sure that we never forget that. We always have time to devote to them, even when it's challenging to us. But as we do this, we continue to support our faculty and our staff as they deliver the critical mission of education and research here at WPI. And we don't just do this for WPI, we do this for the broader community as much as we can. And so those, in many ways, have guided us. Now, in terms of our mission, we're really a very different kind of place. And I always say, you know, my first responsibility when I came on was to go talk to the alumni. And I didn't really think I knew the alumni as well as I should have. And so in listening to them, I heard them talk about some WPI professor that changed their life. I heard them talk about some WPI staff member that saw something in them and invested time in them in a way that changed their lives. And it was so clear to me that when we say that WPI transforms lives one at a time, it's through the interactions that our staff have, our faculty have with our students, that we change the lives of our students, one student at a time. And so this whole notion of transforming lives is important. And we translate knowledge into action. We don't just have knowledge. We translate knowledge into action that addresses the most pressing problems in the world in a way that makes the world a better place. And as we do this through our own unique way of doing education, we are distinctive. The way we teach, the way we learn here is distinctive. It's an inclusive community that really uses projects to transform and impact the world. In terms of our values, we have lots of values. To be honest, I focused only on one. And the one idea that we focused on this year was community. And I don't really know what community is, but I can feel it when I'm within it. And nobody has to define it to me for me to know that I really enjoy community here at WPI. I enjoy community from the staff, from the students, from the faculty, from the administration, from the board, and all the stakeholders of this great university. And, you know, it's been great focusing on that, especially going beyond COVID. And I hope that everybody here will say today, we are a community. We know we are. We're glad to be together again as a community. And it's been tremendous, really rebuilding community post-COVID. And I really want to thank this community for all the efforts that we've made to build this. But of course, we aspire towards inclusion and respect of all. Of course, we aspire towards achievement and innovation. But I would say that this year we focused on community. I hope that in the coming years with our new president, who has a better memory than I do, we'll focus on more things, right? Now, what does it really mean to be an inclusive community? And an inclusive community, I think, is one in which everybody within it really feels part of the community. And I can think of no better illustration of this than the WPI Goat Talent Show that happened a couple of weeks ago. There you had, you had staff members, faculty members, pseudo rock stars, students, all come out and strut their stuff, right? And it was really wonderful for me just to be in the middle of that crowd. Just imagining, rock stars that are now faculty members and all sorts of fun things with our students that just showed actually what is really WPI is rich in talent. Now, one of the students caught my attention, and she's shown here. And she's a student, an American student of Indian descent. And she says, in her first week at WPI, she composed this song. And she described the process of coming to WPI as a process of self-discovery. And that hit me. Because I realized that when we talk about the experience that we provide our students, we don't often cast it in terms of a process of self-discovery. But actually, being a college is a process of self-discovery. It is in that process and the experiences that you go through that you really discover yourself and what you stand for and what is important to you. And then she expressed it in music, which also got to me because it took me back to the days last century when I was a student. And although I didn't know that that was what I was going through, I would express the things that I would discover about myself in song and in music. And I have to confess, each time I come to these Goat Talent shows, I play the piano the evening before, and then I come and play the piano here. And it takes me back to what that really meant. Actually, that process of self-discovery, that process of expressing myself through music and playing my own melody actually describes how I've led my life, right? I look inside of myself to see what's important. And then I look around and I gain inspiration from the world around me. And I play my own melody through life. And it's interesting, I think for our students, when they get this kind of rich experience, we transform them for life, right? Even when they've forgotten all the facts that we teach them, we give them those pieces that make life different. And so Goat Talent Show for me was wonderful just to see the range of talent that we have here at WPI and really to appreciate each other and enjoy community. In addition to that, the trustees' celebration of faculty achievement was really a great time to celebrate our faculty and all the great awards that they've received. And really to appreciate just the wonderful talent that we have in those that teach our students and dedicate their lives to the service of WPI. I'm delighted that we're going to be having similar celebration of staff achievement soon. And I really look forward to that celebration. And then this is a place where, you know, we have critical conversations. And I want to express my appreciation to Gene King, who initiated this series a few years ago. And I always find that the topics that are discussed are really important. This year, we started talking about ChatGPT, right? Now, what's interesting, you know, is this, you know, a lot of people are worried because students might look up the answer and then machine learning and AI might help them find the answers. But I actually think, in my opinion, that there are two types of knowledge. There's the stuff that you understand deep in your bones, and that's the stuff that you have left when you've forgotten all the facts. And then there's the stuff you could go look up and maybe look up intelligently. And I don't think we should be grading the stuff that you go look up, right? Because that's really the stuff that anybody can look up. What we should be doing is training critical thinkers who can insightfully create new ideas or insightfully use ideas intelligently. And it's a real critical conversation opportunity for us to rethink what is the future of education in light of these discoveries, right? And these kind of discoveries always happen. And I think we're thinking critically about these in ways that matter. We're also thinking about, you know, issues of LGBTQIA and how we create community. So these are critical conversations as we strive to be a better place. They're the kind of conversations that I know just made it so important for me to be in a university. I remember when I was in industry, I was paid well, but I missed those conversations at the heart of who we are. And we're delighted to have these as part of what we do at WPI. And then Advising Day is returning back to the pre-COVID levels. So we had almost record number of companies that came to be part of the career fair. And this just shows, you know, some of the interactions that went on. More than 40% of the students said that they had, you know, what looked like the promise of an opportunity to work in a way that's important to how they get through WPI. It's through those experiences, again, that they shape themselves for the future, and they begin to have the opportunities for the advancement that comes from a WPI education. So it's been really great to see our inclusive community develop. And it's also great to see that we've been making progress one step at a time with our strategic plan. And so in this second year of our strategic plan, the strategic partners to support our mission and the values have been important. One of the best examples of a company that's kind of interacted with us is Teradyne. So Teradyne is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, but they recognize that they have a major problem with the future pipeline of STEM talent that they need to drive their company. Now, with all the universities that supply them with talent, they've actually found WPI graduates bring something special to their operations. So somehow those qualities have led them to want to invest in us as they seek to diversify their talent pool. And for them, it's a really important need that they have to address as their existing staff move towards retirement and they need a more diverse pool. So they've been supporting DEI initiatives for the last few years at WPI in ways that we're happy to work with. And so Donna Stock and Dave Orthendal have been managing that relationship, and we truly appreciate those partnerships. The Army Research Lab has been a major supporter of WPI research in so many different ways. With the close proximity of some of their researchers to us, we've done significant work in collaboration with ARL. And we have contracts with the ARL that are as high as $10 million a year. So we've been working with the government in a research partnership, driving the future of additive manufacturing, driving the applications of data science in multiple ways to soldier needs. And that's another example of the kind of interaction, the type of collaborations that we at WPI have in ways that are driving the world. And right now, as we speak, we have a collaboration with Zurich University of Applied Sciences. This has been perhaps one of our most successful global collaborations with a university in Switzerland that has very similar needs and complementary interests with us. I think as we speak now, Dean Jean King should be on her way to Switzerland, where she now is participating in some. Oh, where are you? Oh, I didn't even see you. Hi, Jean. So it's just exciting to see how a really high quality university like that is working closely with us in a global partnership that's benefiting our students, benefiting our faculty, and benefiting the world. And here locally in Worcester, the whole interaction with the 9 Worcester colleges is healthy and strong. I have to say it's been tremendous really being part of the HECMA group in the last year, thinking about ways that we could better collaborate with each other. And we're now developing new collaborations with Holy Cross, and a few other colleges, where we will be signing MOUs to increase the range of BSMS options in ways that benefit education in Worcester, which, if you think about it, is a mecca for education, 9 universities, more or less, in one space. So we're making progress in the strategic plans, and we really want to thank you for your contributions in supporting our strategy. And as we continue to do this, there are opportunities to engage. And so, we have the Student Recognition Awards that will be happening shortly, the Alliances Drag Show that will also be happening shortly. I'm very excited to talk about this year's university lecture. Our speaker will be Roya Mahboob, who is truly an amazing person. And this is somebody who is a campaigner for girls in STEM. She's from Afghanistan, a place where if she had stayed, she wouldn't have had the opportunity to become a computer scientist that's now campaigning for girls in STEM at every level. Now, what's interesting, and the WPI connection to this is there's basically a movie that's coming out called The Afghan Dreamers. And The Afghan Dreamers is about a group of young girls from Afghanistan who wanted to attend the sort of Olympic Games of robotics, but they had no money, they had no robots, they had no resources. But through a WPI IQP, the robots that were needed were developed and provided to them. We interacted with them in the support of their preparation to get to these Olympic Games. And Marcus Nemitz, who is an assistant professor here, played a very significant role in just getting the girls to the Olympic Games of robotics. And the story is they succeeded in a way that's now being written into a movie, right? Where WPI IQPs will feature, and people like Marcus have made a difference. Now, what's interesting here is you say, well, this is of course inspiring, but Roya is now here in the US really seeking ways of really supporting the idea of girls in STEM. And I think she herself is a great example of just the wonderful talent that you can nourish when you have an open approach to STEM that really can change the world. And so she will be speaking on Monday at the university lecture. I hope that you will all be here. Also in attendance at that meeting will be some Afghan refugee girls that are now living in Worcester. Okay. So in addition to that, we have the staff award nominations, the BSU fashion show, the Pan Asian Festival, the CFO's financial update in the middle of all of that. And the staff. I know, Mike. You got us all excited about money. As long as you keep giving it to us, it's fine. And then the staff and faculty of color reception. So there are lots and lots of opportunities to engage. I hope that you will use these opportunities to really build community and continue to build community. And as I go back and as I've gone back to being provost, I hope that if there's only one thing you remember, you think of this as this guy who only talked about building community at WPI. And so with that, I'd like to hand over to a new president, President Grace Wong, who started tenure this Monday. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Wally. Good morning. Yeah. You heard from Wally that I have better memories than he does. I do, because the other day he literally ate my lunch. How was that soup? I'll remember that. But let me start by first thank our faculty, students, staff, our board of trustees, our shared governance, our alumni donors, industry members, and our legislators, many of our key stakeholders for working with me closely in the last 5 months to get me to this point. And I'm still onboarding. I just want to be clear, this is day 3, but it has been really tremendous 5 months to learn about our amazing institution. And I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize Wally, Dr. Wally Sabayejo. Thank you so much for your leadership serving as interim president. I also want to recognize Dr. Art Hanraker. Art, thank you so much for serving as the interim provost. You are exceedingly thoughtful and kind. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. And I don't know if Anna is here, Dr. Anna Garicki. Oh, hi, Anna. Thank you so much for serving as the interim dean of undergraduate studies. Really appreciate that. How much you care about our community, care about our students and faculty. It really showed. Thank you so much. Yeah. With this speed, we need to get the town hall meeting up a little bit longer, but thank you. So as I said, back on November 7th, in this room, I mentioned that I will start my listening tours, and I did. And this is what I heard from our community. A lot of positive feedback, a lot of pride about our institution. And our faculty, students, and staff are very proud of our student-centric mission. And we have a highly connected, engaged community. And I don't know if you ever try that. Ask our students, what attracted you to WPI and what is the best thing about WPI? I asked many of them about this question, and many of them answered two answers are most popular, actually. The first one, project-based learning. Second, people. So how enormously valuable for them to be around the people they can relate to. And they all notice that our faculty and staff are very passionate about our project-based learning, about our mission, about research and teaching, and how much how dedicated our faculty and staff are. And with the external stakeholders, people notice we have this global network of project-based project center. And that is really unique for WPI. And our alumni, many of them, from the people who graduated in the 1960s to the people who just graduated a few years ago, telling me how profound the WPI education is and how much the WPI has changed who they are and how they work and how they lead. And so there are a lot of things, and I cannot help to notice how multi-talented our students are, just tremendous, from art, music to performance, and they are just really tremendous. But at the same time, many of you also shared what challenges are facing us. One is time. One is resources. And I will say these two are the 21st century challenges facing almost all the organization. And you mentioned that how many meetings we have sometimes is difficult to focus. And resources is really important for us to garner more resources and invest in the high demand and critical areas. And many of our colleagues mentioned that some other universities are launching experiential learning. They call what they do as a project-based learning. And how would WPI continue to stay distinctive moving forward in the next few decades? And our faculty asked me that question, and I really appreciate that question. That's a very insightful question. And many of you mentioned that we need to have a clear direction and focus. And again, we need to deepen our work in inclusion and belonging. And you know that none of this is a small problem. It takes persistent, long-term effort for us as a community to work together to address this issue. And today, of course, on the day 3, I wouldn't try to pretend I have all the answers, because I really don't. But I want to share with you a little bit about the landscape, the context, the environment we are operating in. What does that mean to us? And what kind of opportunities present to WPI in this big picture? So we talk a lot, and you all know that, all of us, we talk a lot about how computing and data and telecommunication in the last few decades, how that has changed our life, our work, how we teach, how we do research, what kind of questions we can ask, even how we handle pandemic. But that is not new to our era. The disruptive technologies are not new to our generations. Just look at this chart. Over 100 years ago, when electricity was first discovered, how profoundly that has changed people's lives. That was tremendous. So you think internet is something or social media is something? No, electricity has changed people's life a lot more profoundly. But what is new to our era is the pace. So you take a look at this chart, the technology adoption over the last over 100 years, the pace has getting faster and faster. That's why the slope is getting steeper and steeper. So what does that mean to us, a STEM institution? That means our students who graduate this year, the chance is they will be working on jobs through their career that have not yet been invented. So how do we educate the next generation of the STEM professionals and STEM leaders? That means it's becoming even more critical that we teach them to learn how to learn and having the critical thinking skills. And nobody knows how to do that better than WPI. We need the world to know that. And not only that, just think about the last few decades or probably last 100 years. What has changed in terms of the industry, in terms of the world? We look at the world differently now today. So changing from over 100 years ago when Henry Ford started this mass production of car, that was the focus. Starting from there, the focus of a lot of development and technologies in terms of one product, one service, one solution, or one system. Computer is a great example. But today, we realize the society is a lot more complex than that. This is a hypothetical depiction of a small city in the middle of the ocean. And take a look at that. In this city, if someone needs energy, we all do, that needs cooling water to create energy. And then to get the cooling water or the clean water, you need energy to do the water desalination, and the wastewater treatment needs energy, and the agriculture in the city to provide food contaminate the water, and then in turn the water, you have to treat the water again with energy. And you can see it's all connected, and there is people behavior, there's culture, there's a history, and there's the price tag of the energy. And so there's the economic situation in this city to drive the human behavior, societal behavior. And there is a policy here in this little city that may drive the change of how people adapt to the technologies. So today, when our students graduate, they went on to work, they need to see the world not only through technology lenses, they need to understand the policy, business, humanities, history. So that is the future of the STEM education. Our students need to see the world in new ways and in different lenses. And again, who has been doing this? WPI is way ahead of the time in this. And with our project-based learning, we teach them how to do teamwork. We teach them with our flexibility in the programming. We give our students a lot of opportunities to learn about the humanities, art, business, policy, and having the global perspective. So WPI is really more ready than anyone else as a platform, as an asset for our society to prepare the future STEM leaders. But it doesn't mean that we don't have challenges here. So what opportunities we have to garner resources, to improve our efficiency, reduce our workload, and what can we do to stay or to lead, to be more distinctive? So a few trends here. Demographic trends. I know we talk a lot about enrollment cliff, and Andy, and Jan, that's very important. We need to talk about that. But that is the population trends come and go. There is one thing is actually already with us. So this future is already here. Our population is getting more and more diverse. And this is our students. This is our staff. This is our faculty. So how do we work together to make sure that we deepen our community our community's work in inclusion and belonging? And I will say the inclusion and belonging is not only something good to do. I know we all agree on that. But in today's institution, this defines our excellence. This has to be in our DNA. It has to be in everyone's job, in a daily job, that we need to think about how do we further our work in inclusion and belonging. And that will make us more distinctive. And we all know that even before the pandemic, there is a nationwide mental health crisis. The pandemic made it even worse. And this is the 2023 survey, a small survey, shows the top 5 stressors to our students. And you can see how relevant these top 5 stressors to our everyday job, all the way from how do we evaluate academic success to financial aid and how the well-being, the career development, and academic advising. So the question here is, if we move forward, think about the student well-being needs to be an integrative component of what we do, who we are. Again, that will be making WPI distinctive. And how are we going to evaluate academic success moving forward? So it's not going to be very stressful for our students. And how do we enable this experience go through the full student life cycle that is going to be dynamic, fun, engaging, but not stressful? That's our opportunity. And while you mentioned the ChatGPT, and thank you, Dean King, for starting that conversation. And the entire country in the higher ed education were getting really excited, or I should say a little bit concerned at the beginning when this ChatGPT was first become available to the students. But that's really just, another tool for OpenAI. Just think about online learning, the ChatGPT, and like over a decade ago about the maker space, the 3D printing, and all the apps on the mobile devices. And the change is a norm in terms of new technologies. And all of this, and there will be more of this academic technologies coming out. And I will say it's not our job to react to those technologies. Actually, here at WPI, we have always been ahead of the curve. This is our opportunity. I wouldn't even ask the question about what would WPI do for online education. That's not the question. The question here is, what would the WPI do to utilize all these tools and techniques to further our excellence in academic, in student life, in well-being, in career development, and what we can do to make the learning here more dynamic, more engaging, and more immersive. So the learning is not only inside the classroom, it's outside the classroom, it's at the student clubs, it's at the well-being centers, it's when the students are sitting at the train station using their mobile devices. So the learning is everywhere. And how would we meet that opportunity? And beyond that, in the last decade, tremendous life science breakthroughs. And you probably wonder why I only look at 10 years here and everything else is a century. Life science breakthroughs has been out there and tremendously for a long time. But in the last 10 years, great things happened. Take a look at this. I'm not going to go to the details. Just the last one, robotic limb controlled by the brain. What is that? It's absolutely at the interface of robotic engineering, neuroscience, or neurobiology. Just to think about who has been tremendous in the last 158 years, working at the interfaces of engineering, physical sciences, and computing. This is our opportunity, not only in research, but also in teaching, in education. If the life science is going to be the next wave to lead our society, lead the economic growth, how would WPI meet that opportunity? And we talk about the sustainability a lot. Just show you one chart here, and you probably have all seen this chart. It's striking. If you look at with the speed or the way we are spending resources today, in the United States, we need about 5 Earths to meet the resource needs. And it goes without saying that we don't have 5 planets here, we only have 1. So this is not sustainable. And this is our social responsibility, as a STEM institution to think about what does that mean to education, to our curriculum, to the design thinking. Do we need to incorporate sustainability in the design thinking? And what can we do in research? And for decades, WPI has been very well known in materials and battery recycling, in robotics for recycling. So how can we build on that asset and truly lead in sustainability? And beyond all that, I know you all know this, today's university is no longer an isolated institution in the ivory tower. We are part of this community. Wally just talked about how we work with the Worcester community, or I will say the central Massachusetts, the nation, and the globe. How do we work with the community? We are no longer isolated. Our students go there, work in the world. Our research results needs to generate societal impact, economic impact. So the university work with all these key stakeholders and become part of this highly connected research and innovation ecosystem. So the question to WPI here is, we want to lead, we want to be distinctive. What can we do? How can we be the lead? How can we be that magnet? When people show up here in Massachusetts, they know they need to come here. They show up in United States, they know they need to come to WPI. How do we do that? We need to deliver impact. We need people to know what we can do. And this is not only based on small project. And don't get me wrong, we need to continue to do that in terms of research, but we need to do more in large scale, highly interdisciplinary, high impact research, so we can have the world know that WPI is distinctive. WPI is delivering purpose-driven research, and that is in our DNA, in our spirit. That is the opportunity we are facing. The future of work. So in many ways, the future of work is already here. The pandemic accelerated that. We start utilizing the technologies for communication, for working, and we are in many ways redefining what is the workplace. It's no longer just in our office. It could be anywhere. You pull out the device, you are working, and you could be working from home, working in the office, working together in a conference room, working in different places. The technology, of course, is enabling flexibility, but it can also enable the stress. So what can we do to utilize the technologies to make sure our staff have better work-life balance, to make the job less mundane and make the job more satisfying, more fun, more engaging, work on the high value added job and let the technology handles the part that's probably not that interesting. So we, again, as a STEM institution, we have that opportunity to think about this question and work together, reduce the stress, reduce the time demand work, and make sure this is a community that is a place that we all love to work at. So that is based on my learning, and I'm just sharing with you some of my preliminary thoughts in terms of the opportunities. And as I said, day 3, and I'm going to continue to meet with our staff members, visiting our faculty's labs and hosting small roundtable discussions, and continue to talk to our students, visiting our alum, talk to our trustees, talk to the parents. But at the same time, I want you to think about how can we work together to best meet this moment, this exciting moment. And I wholeheartedly believe that WPI has everything it takes to become more excellent and more distinctive in the coming decades. And the question here is, how can we translate these opportunities into actions so that we can work together and deliver impact. And I understand it has been very difficult few years for all of us with the pandemic. And so this is at the personal level, at the institutional level, it has not been easy for WPI. But today, just think about this, we're coming out of this pandemic, fingers crossed, and we're starting this new era together. I invite you to have a positive look of WPI's future. We have a tremendous institution, tremendous heritage, tremendous past. And how do we build on that past, build on our strength to become even more excellent and more distinctive? So let me now turn this to Lauren and Art to talk to you about how do we integrate this into our strategic priorities. And I ask you to continue to give us feedback. Thank you so much.
Grace, can I get on the agenda to speak before you next time? Okay. So thank you all for being here, and Grace, welcome, and appreciate that very inspiring day 3. All right, so could we have the next slide? Yes, no? Oh, I'm operating it. Oh, okay. That's all you need to tell me, Kyle. All right, so Art and I have just a few minutes with you, and it's just so exciting to have this opportunity to talk with you at this moment about what we have been doing this last year and what we're really setting up to do for next year. So let's be clear, our strategic plan, Lead with Purpose, is our strategic plan. And as many of us have been talking about over this course of this last year, there was so much wisdom and insight in establishing that strategic plan, because here we are wrapping up year 2 very soon and starting year 3 with the new president in this new context. And again, coming out of the pandemic, and the plan is going to serve us so well. Like, it is just situating us to sort of seize the opportunity. And so our focus on student well-being, access, and affordability remains. Our focus on purpose-driven education and research remains, and our focus on our inclusive community remains. We've spent 2 years really getting our arms around that and figuring out what that really means for WPI. And the exciting thing, I think, for us this upcoming year is this is the year we get to dial it in. This is the year we get to focus, because we've done enough of that community building and understanding the contextual environment in which we're working in that we can dial it in and focus, and we have to. Grace, thank you for ending with the future of work and that care and attention to productivity and balance, because we can do that, and we're going to do that. And so over the course of the last several months, I think Grace said to you, she was here on November 7th. That might have been the day after she accepted our appointment, our offer to her to serve as president. She has been engaged with the leadership team here at WPI since that moment. Not advising you to do this, but using all of her Ohio State paid time off to do that. It's not a good role model. But she has spent, she's going to change that. She told me that yesterday. But she has spent that time with the leadership team to allow us the opportunity to really engage and think about this transition. And we are so prepared. And what we want to share with you today is, through all of those conversations, management council meetings, retreats, we have, as a leadership team, and with lots of conversation in the community, we have emerged with 5 strategic priorities that are going to help us focus our goals next year so we can advance them. And so what I'd like to do is have Art share the 5 strategic priorities, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about our next steps in terms of how we operationalize that into our 3rd year and through the 5th year of our strategic plan. So Art.
Thanks, Lauren. I just want to start off by saying I'm not retiring. Okay. This came up. And I'm going to walk through these from the bottom up. So these are 5 bullet points that have come out of a lot of discussions. and they will continue to evolve. And Lauren will talk about that again in a few minutes. Last one talks about strategic and financial robust operations to support an affordable WPI. I look at that and think that's the water we have to live in. That's the water we swim in. Okay, if we're going to provide an affordable education, then we have to be efficient in our operations and robust in our finances. We have to foster inclusion and belonging. Okay, I'm a German-Irish kid from Missouri. I got married to an Italian from New Jersey. When I met and meet the Italian family, Uncle Frankie said to me, you have to remember, families are hard work. Whenever I read bullet 4, I think families are hard work. And it's what it's about. We are a family. We are a community. We're going to grow research that addresses societal issues. There's an ecosystem model for that that makes the point that it isn't just the most high-profile researchers in labs and Gateway that are having an impact here. Everybody has an impact here. And the purpose is what drives it. We need to cultivate an immersive student-centered experience. Wally talked about this is a place for self-discovery. One of the real joys that I've had for years and Arna now has is to welcome the first-year class. And if you want to be placed in awe, look at 1,300 or 1,400 17 and 18-year-olds and think about the potential that they have, and we can change them. Finally, we have a fundamentally unique approach to education here that we sometimes forget. And I just want to say, there's been a lot of discussions about how do we talk about it? What are the words that we use so that we understand it and the outside world understands it? It's difficult. I just wanted to leave with one final little bit of a story. So I had a meeting yesterday with Kimberly Lachasur down in the STEM Education Center, who's been digging into these alumni survey data. And one of the most fascinating things that she's pointed out or she's seeing is we can point to interaction effects between projects we do in the first year and in humanities and arts, globally, and in the majors. It isn't just that each of those is important. It is that they interact and they connect and they support each other. It's back to community again. It's something that we can do that I don't think anybody else really can. So this is a refinement of the strategic plan. It's a set of goals guiding our discussions for the coming year. And Lauren's going to talk more about the discussions. There you go.
By the way, Art, it's been great working with you on this year. And I know you're not retiring, and I'm delighted about that. How many have seen this in some version already? That's awesome. That's awesome. So thank you. So that speaks to the next slide. So what we've been doing over the last several weeks is taking this work that, again, emerged from lots and lots of hours of leadership conversation and looking at data, and been taking it out to the community, meeting with department heads, meeting with governance of the faculty, meeting with the staff council, asking all of our division and department heads to meet within their departments, because the goal here is to get this penetrated throughout the community so that people can understand it. I think to Art's point, it's not just the words on the page, it's understanding and bringing it alive and figuring out what our role is and the line of sight of our contributions to advancing those priorities. And so over the next several weeks, there'll be lots more opportunities for those engagements, again, within your departments and division. We're going to be also hosting some sessions that open sessions to the community. The dates are on here to allow you to just engage with us, give us some feedback, think about this, ask questions, because our next task will be to turn this into action. That's what we're all about. We can talk about it to a certain point, and then we need to take that strategy and operationalize it. And so over the next few weeks, that is what's going to be happening. If we had a drone with an infrared running around campus or flying over campus, we'd see lots of activity, I hope, engaging in this conversation about this content. And so I want to appreciate everything that all of you have done. Those of you who have served as both strategic priority implementation team leads or members, thank you for the service for this past year. Actually, if I could just ask you to stand for just a moment, and appreciate you. Those who are implementation leads for this year's strategic planning groups and serving on committees, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Thank you. Now, we're recognizing you prematurely because your work's not quite done, but it will be done very soon. And again, just want to acknowledge that community engagement, that's what makes this work fun. So already, I'd like to invite President Wong back to the podium. I think we have an opportunity for some questions. Yes, thank you.
Hey, any thoughts? And we have Mike here. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm working this course, but it's great to have you, I guess, to start. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Thoughts? No one want to start. Do we have anything online? No? Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, with that, thank you very much for being here. I'll let you enjoy the rest of the day and rest of the week, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Yeah. And don't forget to give input on the strategic priorities and particularly your ideas and actions. Thank you very much.